Hello! Welcome to another video, and as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, today we are going through my 2020 reading goals. I love the start of something new and setting new goals and setting something to achieve. I think it's why I love readathons so much. I love starting it and setting something and trying to work towards something. So a fresh year and setting new reading goals is really exciting to me. And I'm really hoping that 2020 is going to be a fantastic year for me. In 2019, there are certain goals that I kind of held back on because I knew that it wouldn't be the year that I could achieve them. Whereas this year, nothing big is happening in my life this year. Last year, I knew that we were saving for the house and would potentially be buying the house. This year, we're in the house. That big part of our life is done. In 2020, I don't think there's anything major that's gonna happen. So there are goals that I feel like I'm more able to set myself. So without beating around the bush, the goal in question here is that I really want to hit 100 books. So for 2020, I'm setting my Goodreads goal at 100 books. I have never read 100 books in a year before. I never thought it would be possible. However, in 2019, I read 81 and my goal was 70, and with that being a year that we bought a house and moved a house, we didn't move the house, we moved house. There was a lot going on. We were very busy for a lot of the year, and I think that in 2020, knowing that I can achieve 81 in a year where there was a lot of other things going on, I think 2020 could potentially be the year that I hit 100 books. Also, it would just be really satisfying to my soul because the year is 2020. It's a nice round number to look at, and 100 is a nice round number to look at, and I just feel like they belong together. So I'm really hoping that 2020 can be the year that I finally hit 100 books as my Goodreads goal. There we go. There's goal number one. In terms of picking what those books will be, I am going to be carrying TBR Pursuit over into 2020, and I hope to use it every single month, whether there's a readathon in that month or not. If there is, I will just have to try and use the books that TBR Pursuit gives me to fill prompts for readathons, because TBR Pursuit is going to be how I pick what books I read. TBR Pursuit obviously only gives me 6 books per month, so in order to hit that 100 book mark, I'm going to have to read outside of TBR Pursuit as well. But for the majority of it, TBR Pursuit will be how I will be picking my reads. I'm loving doing it. You guys seem to be enjoying it as well. I'm loving the expansion of my question card deck in that as well. So if you do want to add a question to the question card deck, just go to my latest TBR Pursuit video and drop it in the comments, because I always go to the video beforehand to see if there's any questions I can add to the deck for the next time. So if you have any suggestions for question cards to fill that out, then please go ahead and do that. But TBR Pursuit will be how I will be picking my TBR throughout 2020, and I'm excited to do so. I'm loving it. It's like a mini readathon every month, and I love that. So I'm definitely going to be carrying on with that. In terms of my purchasing goal in 2019 was to just purchase less than 50 books, and that seemed to go pretty well. I did achieve that, so I'm going to set the same goal for 2020, just purchase less than 50 books. I don't want to restrict myself too much, but that equates at less than 1 per week, 4 per month-ish. So I'm happy with having that as a goal. I definitely didn't hit 50 last year, so I think I can do a similar thing this year. It just caps me that little bit, but doesn't put me on a buying ban, so I don't feel too restrained. And I think that works. That's a reasonable goal for me to set, and my lifestyle and how I like my library to be. I like to have a big TBR, so adding new books to it isn't a problem for me. So yeah, less than 50 books is a reasonable cap to put on my purchasing personally. And as I say, it went well last year, so I'm happy to do that again this year. A bit more specific in terms of goals are goals for what I want to be reading. I really would love for 2020 to be a year that I focus more on graphic novels and comics. I feel like in 2019 I didn't read that many of them, whereas in 2018 I read a lot more of them, and I like them. They are a form of media that I like to consume, and there are so many interesting ones out there. My Amazon wishlist at the moment is just full of a load of comics that I've seen that I'm intrigued by, and I would love for 2020 to be the year that I expand my collection, because it's not even half a shelf. So if I can expand my comic collection or graphic novels this year and get through some of those, that would be fantastic. I feel like there's so much unexplored territory there for me, and I like reading them. Yeah, it's great. Also, they're so quick, so like that would really help with that 100-book goal as well. That's not why this goal is on there, like I would love to read 100 books, but I really do want to consume some more comics and graphic novels because there are so many interesting ones out there, and I've barely scratched the surface with that, so would definitely love to be exposed to more of those. If you have any recommendations for great comic series and graphic novels, please let me know down below, because I'm definitely on the hunt for some new ones to add to my lists and try and get my hands on, so please do let me know if you have any recommendations for those. Alongside that, I would love for 2020 to be the year that I finally expose myself to some Brandon Sanderson. So far, Skyward is on my January TBR. I did squeeze that into TBR Pursuit. It fit quite well, actually, so fingers crossed January will be my first exposure to Brandon Sanderson, but I've been putting off reading his works for so long now because they intimidate me, because they're big and scary. But they're so loved by everyone. Like, my friends have like a secret fan club that I want to be a part of. So I need to read some Sanderson, basically, and 2020 needs to be the year that I do that, because I'm falling behind. It's just not good. I'm falling behind and I need to join in on the Sanderson train. Please, 2020, let me do this. I am my own worst enemy here, because if it scares me too much, I will not do it. But persuade me. Persuade me. Mistborn, I'm coming for you in 2020. Fingers crossed. Also, I feel like 2020 needs to be a year that I get on some of those anticipated releases and actually read them when they're fresh and anticipated. That is something that I do far too often, is that I get excited about a book, I'm really excited in the lead up to its release, when I find out about it, because I'm normally terrible at knowing when things are released, but like when it's come out and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited about this, I get my hands on it, put it on my shelf, and leave it there, and don't get to it. Main culprit I'm talking about here is Vengeful by Victoria Schwab. I'm so excited about that book, and I just have not got to it, but I know there's gonna be new books coming out and I'm just not gonna get to them for ages. So I would love for 2020 to be the year that I accomplish this like fear of anticipated releases and just read them when I'm excited about them. If I can squeeze them into TBR Pursuit, that is. That could be an enemy for me there. And of course, this is a goal that I think everyone has every year. Finish out some of those series that you're in the middle of. That would be great. Some of the ones I'm referring to here are the Greatcoat series by Sebastian de Castell, which I am super duper excited to be continuing on with. I love that. I would love to finish that out this year. The Folk of the Air series, The Cruel Prince, Wicked King, and Queen of Nothing, would love to finish that out this year as well. Like, there's not a lot of it, so that should be fine. The Winter Night trilogy, I have one book left in that and would love to finish that out, hopefully early this year. That would be great. And there are for sure so many others on my shelf. The only series that I'm not going to push myself on this year is Throne of Glass, because I set it for a goal last year, and I think the year before that, and I'm just not feeling it, so I'm not gonna force myself towards that because it doesn't seem to be happening. So when it happens, that's fine. But other series that I'm like enjoying, like, just finish them. Don't be scared of finishing a series. That's another thing, like the fear of the anticipation. I know it's the end, I think it's gonna be fantastic and I don't want it to be over, so I just never read it. I need to get over that and just finish some things. So there's another goal there as well. Of course, 2020 will also see the second round of the Polathon, which I am really excited about. It will be happening in February. There is a Twitter for it. I will link it down below actually, and the announcement video for that should be coming soon-ish. I would like for it to be up in the beginning of January. so that should be coming soon for you. But yeah, the Polathon is a week-long readathon that I host based on polar fantasy reading, just wintry, snowy vibes, icy magic, you know, the sort of things that I really enjoy personally. I did it last year. I did it kind of low-key last year, like I didn't have a Twitter for it or anything, I wasn't like pushing it anywhere, whereas this year I've made the Twitter for it. I'm getting a bit more excited about it and I would love for more people to join in this year. It's a little subgenre that I'm really passionate about and would love to share that love for. I've made the map for it, I've done all the illustration myself. I mean, I did that last year as well. Yeah, it's like my little child, and I know that polar fantasy may not be for everybody, so it's not going to be like a universal sort of readathon. It is a little bit more specific, but I would love for people to join in with that, and I am, you know, putting some work into creating it. I just need to maybe push it a little bit more, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to participating in it myself and hopefully seeing you guys participate as well. That would just be really lovely. And last but not least, 2020 is going to be the year of Middle Grade Monthly. Me and Gavin have created a book club called Middle Grade Monthly. It is on Twitter at MGMonthly, and it is a monthly middle grade book club. I've done an announcement video for that as well, explaining everything, so I will link that down below as well. I'm excited about that and I want that to go well, so one of my goals for that is going to be, when reading the Middle Grade Monthly books, to pay really close attention to them. Potentially make them books that I start to annotate or tab or something, so that the conversation can be really in-depth and we have things to talk about, and just make it quality. I'm really looking forward to that and hope that I can, you know, put some real thought into the discussions that we have there. And also just reading middle grade in general is fantastic, and another goal of mine would be to read more of it. But in general, a goal for me would be to read more of everything. But yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything. My main goal for 2020 is the read 100 books thing, and then focusing on Sanderson graphic novels and finishing some of those series. So they are my like solid goals. So I'm pretty happy with the goals that I'm setting. I feel like they are accomplishable. I feel like they are reachable. 100 books might be pushing it, but I hope that 2020 can be the year that I do that. So fingers crossed. But yeah, they are my goals. I hope you've set some reachable goals for yourself as well. I would love to know what they are. Let me know down below what your #1 goal is for 2020. But yeah, that's all from me today. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!